Punch the monkey. Get your minds out of the gutter. That's absolute clickbait that I put that as the title. What I have is absolute proof that babies need their moms. Heartbreaking, touching story coming up. The Pledge of Allegiance. Do you do it? Should we do it? No doubt about that on this show. And law enforcement actually works. Who knew? Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. It is Tuesday, right? Oh my. Tuesday has begun. We are in the mix. We're live on Rumble. And thank you for those of you who popped in here on the show. We appreciate that. You can also be watching our video delayed broadcast on our YouTube channel, The Jay Sheldon Show. Check us out over there and subscribe. And also we upload a version onto X, and the audio goes out as a podcast on Spotify, Apple iTunes, whatever platform you use for your podcast. Search us out, subscribe, follow, whatever it is you have to do on your channel and your platform. But by all means, please give us a follow here. Hit that follow button. It really helps get the word out there. We appreciate it. All righty. Yeah, Punch the Monkey. Yes, indeed. It is an orphanhood that has gone absolutely viral. And like I said, it is absolute proof that babies need their moms. Morning, Maryland. Be blessed. Compassion for Punch the Monkey's viral orphanhood should go well beyond babies deprived of their mothers because of third-party reproduction. You know what I'm talking about. And we've covered it on this show before. Every once in a while, an animal captures everybody's heart. People all over the world. There was Harambe, whose death about a decade ago sparked an ongoing debate about the value placed on human versus animal lives. Washington, D.C.'s giant pandas, whose exit and then reappearance fueled headlines for years and years. Most recently, the creatures creating conversations were Mudang, a baby pygmy hippopotamus at a Thailand zoo, and later Pesto the penguin, resident at Sea Life in Melbourne Aquarium in Australia. The very latest manifestation of this animal phenomenon is Punch, the primate. He is a baby Japanese macaque whose mother sadly abandoned him very shortly after his birth in July of 2024. In an effort to lessen the blow of rejection for Punch, the zookeepers in Ichikawa City Zoo in Japan offered the monkey a stuffed orangutan as a consolation. Clips of Punch clutching this plushie, very stressful, lonely moments tugging at everybody's heartstrings. When the adult monkeys in Punch's enclosure tried to put him in his place, scolding the zoo's insist is normal and necessary for the infant to develop. In-person onlookers, online viewers everywhere demanded justice for their parasocial baby. It was indeed rather tough footage to watch, as these other macaques seem to be picking on Punch. There's little Punch right there behind the rock. Yeah. And he runs over and finds his little orangutan. Aww. Oh, man. If that doesn't pull your heart apart, I don't know what's going to. Unbelievable. Worries that Punch would never find his place in the pack grew and grew. The keyboard warriors, publications capitalizing on Punch's moment, put out a collective sigh of relief just last week when the monkey was seen snuggling up to a new friend. Yep, the news gets better, folks. Watch this footage, just came out last week. That is baby Punch with his new friend. Now, that's encouraging. Looks like he's found a friend. I don't know why people are so invested in this other monkey's embrace of Punch. And for one, everybody knows a stuffed animal is a sad, frankly, very unsuitable substitute for mom. And therein lies the irony of Punch's situation, a rise to fame. At the end of the day, a baby monkey like Punch is an animal designed to adapt and overcome despite less than ideal circumstances. What happens when humans are subjected to the same kind of maternal separation, especially maternal deprivation, which is by design? That's the horrible part. You see that demonstrated in this assisted reproductive technology, surrogacy, where children are commissioned for creation, sometimes using purchased sperm and eggs, gestated in some other woman's womb. And the moment these babies are born, they're taken from the only mother they have ever known for 9 months, the one who's nurtured them, and handed over to virtual strangers. It's a form of rejection, similar to what you saw there with Punch. Except in this case, the familial loss with the child, sadly, is deliberate. Except in this case. It's one thing for a child to suffer a loss, find a remedy in a child-centered solution like adoption. But another quite thing entirely for the institution itself, like third-party reproduction, to be the cause of that loss. Even if a surrogate willingly hands the baby over and everything appears legally okay, that child is still going to be the product of an arrangement that considered his rights and his needs last, not first, as it should be. This immediate separation from his birthing mother is known as causing irrevocable physical, emotional, and mental harm to the infants. Surrogate mothers, the legal parents of the children. Additionally, kids whose womb-made attachment bonds, and they do absolutely, look, if you're a mom, you know this. Obviously, I've never been a mom. But if you are a mom, you know this. As that baby grows inside of you, you bond with it even before it's born. Anyone will attest to that. The compassion for children created in this multi-billion-dollar surrogacy industry. Arrangements nowhere near the kind of sympathy Punch got. In fact, the industry cheered on, even by people who claim to be conservative, despite the fact that surrogacy makes procreation and pregnancy transactional, the last thing on earth it should be. Moral and ethical, reprehensible quandaries abound. Hurts women, hurts babies, strong overlap with human trafficking, reeks of corruption, manufacture of motherless children, and even has grown in popularity in recent years. You remember this? Two men, gay couple, purchased two twin girls via surrogacy. And now they are mocking how they will ever have a mother. You see what I'm talking about? Something is wrong here. A motherless monkey certainly is a tragedy. There's no doubt about it. But the pain punch suffers every single day by nature taking its course. Does not compare to the pain that hundreds of babies born to surrogate mothers suffer each and every year because of unjust prioritization of adult needs over our children's rights. Motherhood cannot simply be replaced or replicated by a IKEA stuffed animal or surrogacy. It doesn't work that way. And for those of you who say, might want to argue, what about the women who cannot biologically have kids? Trust me. Do you know how many thousands and likely tens of thousands of children are out there for adoption? Now, that's a nightmare in some cases in and of itself. But this surrogacy corporation in this country has truly gotten out of control. Danny says, Haley made a good point. Oh, Haley here on Rumble. Some leftists raging about Punch being abandoned are the ones who have no problem aborting their children. Bingo. Precisely. Exactly right, Haley. Did you hear there was another assassination attempt on President Trump? Likely you did not. It's getting out there now thanks to shows like this one. But do you think the corporate media would be covering it? Not so much. Completely downplayed, corporate media, another apparent assassination attempt against President Trump. And nobody's talking about it. Once political violence stops shocking the public, almost becomes normalized or expected, we are in serious trouble. A man armed with a shotgun and a fuel can fatally shot Sunday at Mar-a-Lago after he not only trespassed into the president's home, refused to comply with law enforcement when they ordered him to drop the weapon. Now, you wouldn't necessarily know that because you relied on the propaganda press coverage of what appears to be yet another attempted assassination of Trump. And nobody's talking about it. 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin of Moore County, North Carolina, ignored orders to drop his weapons after being instructed by Secret Service agents and a sheriff's deputy. Martin reportedly dropped the fuel can, but raised his shotgun, prompting law enforcement to unalive him. Pew, pew. Goodbye. So sad not. President not there, by the way, at the time of the incident. But if you just happen to be scrolling social media, maybe X, you might have come away with the impression that a man simply wandered somewhere he shouldn't have been and paid the ultimate price for it. Yeah, no, that's not what happened. New York Times post on X. Listen to this bullshit. Breaking news. A man was fatally shot by law enforcement after he entered the secure perimeter of Mar-a-Lago. Fireworks sound effects were not planned. That's what the Times wrote in their X report. The fact the man was armed, a detail that really kind of fundamentally changes the nature of the whole goddamn thing, never mentioned, completely omitted from the post that reached hundreds of thousands of people on X. Nice job, New York Times, once again proving that you are no longer the old gray lady on the hill, as they say. You are just a radical bunch of leftist morons. Reuters' Jasper Ward originally posted a piece called U.S. Secret Service Agents Killed Men Trying to Unlawfully Enter Trump's Mar-a-Lago Resort. Now, the piece appears to have been updated at a later time, which included armed in the headline. MS Now, talk about bullcrap. Aram Salam wrote Sunday, 4:45 p.m., hours after the incident was widely reported. The man was indeed armed. Here's the headline. Secret Service says law enforcement fatally shot a man at Mar-a-Lago overnight. That's it. That's the headline. He didn't mention in the introduction the man was armed. Instead of writing Secret Service agents and local law enforcement officer opened fire on him for trespassing. Still no mention of the man being armed. Agents say they instructed Martin to drop his weapon, and when he failed to comply, they fatally shot him. So, to almost no one's surprise, at least certainly not people who watch this show, the propaganda corporate media, again, completely downplay what is, for all intents, another assassination attempt on our president. When Trump was within way less than an inch of losing his life in Butler, the Washington Post, which later won a Pulitzer Prize in the breaking news category for their coverage of the attempted assassination, wrote that Trump was taken away after loud noises at the rally. Yeah, for that, they got a Pulitzer. The loud noises were gunshots. And the featured image of the article showed the president with blood pouring down his face. But not everybody got a Pulitzer for their coverage, or rather their propaganda. USA Today said Trump was removed from the stage by Secret Service after loud noises startled the former president. NBC News. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after popping noises heard. LA Times. Trump whisked off stage in Pennsylvania after loud noises rang through the crowd. Across the board, every one of this propaganda press avoided the most basic description of what actually happened. The president, the victim of another assassination attempt. Just this past month, 26-year-old Colin DeMarco showed up at the Home Office of Management of Budget Director Russell Vaught wearing a surgical mask and gloves in an alleged attempt to murder him. Didn't hear that one, did you? The man reportedly said he feared a fascist takeover from the Trump admin. An armed man with deadly weapons forced his way into the secure perimeter of a sitting president's home, refused orders to drop his weapons. That story should have been dominating the news cycle for at least 24 hours. Instead, not a damned whisper. Nothing. I pray to God it's because we Americans I pray to God it is not because we Americans have become used to it. If that's the case, we got a much bigger problem. A much bigger problem. Danny, my 9-year-old, told me on Sunday, I'm sure his papa told him as he was at their house, he will forever need protection for the rest of his life, even after the presidency. Sad, yeah, indeed. But you're right. He will need that kind of protection. Iran is preparing some ballistic missiles, but not in the way you might think. Not good news. We're going to tell you about it coming up in just a bit. Right now, though, we are going to invite you into Patriot Mobile. We love these guys. Patriot Mobile. Wow. Patriot Mobile, folks, whenever things go wrong, there are always these fraudsters ready to jump on the bandwagon, pretending to be patriotic companies. Trust me on this one, folks. They absolutely are not. For more than 10 years now, Patriot Mobile's been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, right there with us in this fight. Patriot Mobile's been a great supporter of this show. We love them to death, having them as a partner here. They are right there with us in the fight. They're the only cell phone service provider that's actually on the front lines defending our freedom. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage across all 3 major networks, which means you get exactly the same coverage you have now or better. You keep your phone, you keep your phone number. You're not dealing with one of these fake companies pretending to be patriotic. They proudly wear the label of being a Christian conservative company. They do not donate to any of these lefty causes. They do, however, donate a portion of their profits to causes that you and I believe in, that support the First and Second Amendment, the right to life, the sanctity of life. First responders, our military. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you are supporting a company that is defending the things you and I believe in. 100% U.S.-based customer service. It makes switching very easy. You keep your phone, you keep your phone number. Nothing changes except where your money goes, and it's going to the good folks at Patriot Mobile. Go to patriotmobile.com/J. Use the promo code J, J-A-Y, my first name, and you will get your first month free. Oh, yeah. Not only do you get all those benefits, nothing changes except where your money goes to a good Christian conservative company. Dependable, wide coverage, same or better than you've got now. Folks, even if you are tied into a contract, head over there, talk to their customer service staff. There are some plans which can perhaps get you out of those contracts legally, no monkey business. But check it out. Talk to their customer service people. They're there to help you. They really are. PatriotMobile.com/J. The link is right at the top of our show notes. Check it out and make that switch today. You will not be disappointed. I guarantee it. Hey, Iran. We got enough troubles already. But an Israeli advisor is warning that Iran may be pairing ballistic missiles with chemical warheads. Oh, yeah, very nice. For years, the fight over Iran is centered on centrifuges, uranium stockpiles, enrichment percentages, and all that framework now may be completely out of date. The latest assessments, if they're accurate, Tehran is not merely edging back toward nuclear capability, but they have now looked at pairing their advanced ballistic missiles with chemical and biological payload potential. Isn't that nice? Israeli military advisor Amir Avivi said the Islamic Republic is continuing preparations for war and the production of ballistic missiles, including chemical and biological ballistic missiles, which are very, very, very dangerous and need to be dealt with. Former IDF Brigadier General, now counsels the Israeli government, said active discussions within Israel's defense establishment about these unconventional capabilities, but he claims they're working on them. All the more reason we may find the need to do something about Iran. Apparently something is going to happen, just hasn't happened yet. We'll see. Are you ready for this? I'm telling you, it is beyond me how you deal with having your kids, if you have kids of age who are going to school. I hope you've picked a good school, because a lot of them are absolute rubbish crap. And I got a great example of that one. This mom tried to bring, it's her sister. She tried to bring her little sister a smoothie to school because she had had dental work done and she couldn't eat normal food. The school said, no, you can't do that. Listen to this bullshit.
I'm starting to believe what people are saying about this new generation of kids being like soft and babied, because what do you mean I just tried to bring a smoothie to my little sister who just got an expander in her mouth yesterday, so it's really hard for her to eat, and the office lady tells me, oh, she can't have that. I said, why? She goes, because if it's brought into the lunchroom, the other kids will see and it'll be unfair to them because she's the only one who has that. Bruh, like, am I wrong for saying I really don't care? The conclusion that we ended up coming to was that my little sister is now drinking the smoothie by herself in the office so that the other kids don't see and so that she can eat something. Like, okay.
Is right. This is what happens when we live in a generation of participation trophies. Everybody gets a prize. She needed to have the smoothie as her lunch because she had dental work and she couldn't eat. But, if you didn't bring enough smoothies for the whole class, sorry, she can't have that. What an absolute crock of crap. This is the kind of garbage our schools are dishing out there. Unbelievable. But there's more. The city that actually launched George Washington's career is now going to exclude the Pledge of Allegiance. Danny says, what about the kids whose parents pack candy in their lunches? My kids talk about it all the time because I don't pack junk, and some parents do. Well, if they do, they better be packing enough Snicker bars for the whole class, because everybody's got to be equal. Everybody gets a participation trophy. All right, this has to rank up there with one of the dumbest stories I've done in a month of Sundays. The local planning commission in the historic city of Winchester, Virginia, getting some rather unwelcomed heat after they voted against adding the Pledge of Allegiance to their business meeting agenda. Against it. They did not previously recite the pledge. That's never been a part of their proceedings. But Chairman Bo Correll proposed formalizing the meeting structure by adding the Pledge of Allegiance to the agenda. Pretty simple addition. Takes all of 15 seconds to say the pledge. It's a commonplace practice in meetings, town hall meetings, all across the country. Worse than the outright rejection from these morons was the reason behind why it should be excluded. Get this. Commissioner Lisa Mayfield offered the most strident opposition to the motion. When he brought it up to me beforehand about the Pledge of Allegiance, I was like, is that really necessary? I would prefer to remove the Pledge of Allegiance under Public Hearing Section C under Article 5, Mayfield said, of the amendment to the proposed bylaws. Listen to this moron, unpatriotic idiot.
I would prefer to remove the Pledge of Allegiance under public hearings, with Section C under Article 5.
I would agree with that as well, actually. I'm glad we don't do any pageantry or rituals before we just dive into business.
Seems, unnecessary.
Sandra Bloom.
Do you have a motion?
I have a motion to remove the Pledge of Allegiance from Article 5-1, item C.
I second.
Thank you.
There is a motion to remove the Pledge of Allegiance from the agenda. There is a second discussion.
I second what Commissioner Bloom said, just jumping into business.
Thank you. Okay, the chair calls for a vote to remove the Pledge of Allegiance from the agenda. We'll take a roll call vote.
All right. At the end of the day, basically, they said, yeah, get rid of it. You know what? Take a look there. You see there over in the far left corner? You see what that is? That's an American flag. I'll tell you what, commie bastards, while you're at it, why don't you vote to get rid of the flag, too? You hear what she called it? Pageantry. Pageantry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. They voted 4-2 to take that little 10, 15-second segment out of their meetings. The backlash on social media, it was big. It's not pageantry, it's a reminder of where their loyalties and their duties lie. If they're bothered by it, then they are up to no good, the Virginia Project wrote on X. Interesting twist in a city with some very significant ties to one of our most famous founding fathers. Winchester, Virginia played an indirect but very significant role in the founding of this very country. A frontier town that helped shape key figures and events which led up to the American Revolution, and one of those was George Washington. Teenage Washington surveyed lands there in 1748, erected headquartered Fort Loudon there during the French Indian War, launched his political career when he won his first election to the Virginia House of Burgesses in 1758. 1775, Daniel Morgan, one of the most respected battlefield tacticians of the American Revolutionary War, led riflemen on the famous Beeline March to Boston. Not an insignificant contribution to the very beginnings of this great country. Oh, but we don't want the pageantry. Let's just get on with business. We don't need the Pledge of Allegiance. Absolutely disgusting. I got more proof. Remember we started out with the story of Punch the Monkey and how important moms are? I got another one. This is a cartel member. Now, my Spanish, I've lost whatever little Spanish I used to know. I grew up spent 5 years rather in Key West in law enforcement, so I had to know some Spanish. But I've lost it. I could not tell, God help me if this is something really vulgar. I'm sorry if you are Spanish speaking, if it offends you. It's a cartel member who's trying to be all big and ballsy and show off. That works for a while until mom shows up. Give a watch. And look at that shot. What the hell's with the thong? Looks like ladies' underwear. How tough are you now, buddy? No audio? Are you kidding me? What happened?
¿Con qué están metiéndose, hijo de puta?
No, it's there. Oh, that's weird. Anyway, it's him in Spanish. His mom breaks into the room and beats the living hell out of him. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We love it. SKR Miss, I'm sorry, I can't quite see that. I believe that's what it is. An LOL there. Hey, welcome in. Great to have you along for the ride. Yeah, I'm sorry that audio apparently did or didn't work. But anyway, you got the idea. Mom put an end to that little punk right quick. All right, speaking of working, guess what? Law enforcement works. Who knew? Here's a quick story. Imagine a quack doctor who for years spent time screaming that antibiotics are racist, they're oppressive, they're the problem, not the infection. He tells every patient to flush all their pills down the toilet while addressing root causes like, oh, it's bad vibes, it's systemic pollen. Unsurprisingly, people start dropping like lick spittle in the blabbling lefty's mouth. And then one morning, out of the blue, patients storm the office, force open the medicine cabinet to get all the right antibiotics, and suddenly their fevers crash and break overnight. The quack, looking like Bill Clinton being deposed, scratching his head, grasping in fake shock, oh, wow, who knew medicines actually work? Imagine. Right now, that is exactly what the left looks like. For years, progressive leaders claimed crime spikes were resulting from everything except their own terrible ideas. They blame society, poverty, bad luck. Smash and grab crews cleaned out stores. The headlines filled with violence. And anybody suggesting more arrests, any real consequences for their crimes, well, they got shouted down about as fast as a heartless bigot can get shouted down. That same crowd that invented every excuse all of a sudden looks completely stunned. Safer streets begin to appear, seemingly like magic out of thin air. Drew Holden, manager-editor at Commonplace, American Compass, called their bluff loud and clear. Listen, other outlets and commentators have been similarly befuddled. New York Magazine dubbed it the mysterious plunge in America's murder rate. Experts say it's too early to tell what's prompting the change. The AP intoned. The Washington Post cited a liberal expert who cautioned there was no silver bullet to make sense of the data. Time magazine, the drop in violent crime can be attributed to a kaleidoscope of factors, none of which could singularly account for the decline. CNN shrugged it's nearly impossible to zero in on any one reason. Bottom line, experts aren't sure why violent crime continues to fall, according to Axios. Folks, cities didn't win the lottery. They ditched all their bullshit failed excuses, funded the police again, and began prosecuting aggressively, and went after the small group of repeat offenders who drive on most of the chaos. In one sense, it's called broken windows policing. When cops patrol hotspots, guess what? Crime drops. What a surprise. When prosecutors keep violent actors locked up, guess what? Crime drops. Cities boosting staffing, using data to target repeat thugs, and did catch and release programs. You really promise not to beat old women for free food anymore? Okay then, you can go, you're free. They stopped that shit, and all of a sudden they started focusing on gangs and guns and career criminals instead of social theories. And guess what? Crime dropped. And the left is surprised. Yeah. Okay then. Oh, what, you know what? I'm not, you heard the story. This women's Olympic hockey team have been invited to the White House, but they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're too busy. It doesn't fit in with our schedule. We won't make it." What the hell? You have been invited by the president to visit the White House because you are a gold medal winning team, women's hockey. And you said, oh, gee, no time. Sorry, can't make it. Well, then, good. You deserve exactly nothing. Oh, here's a follow-up for you. Do you remember we did the story about that idiotic notion of Mandani's to have the New York's first free grocery store? Remember how I said it would fall flat on its face if it even made it for one day? Well, guess what? It didn't make it. New York's first free grocery store shows yet again socialism doesn't work. Good old Comrade Mandani has been the mayor of New York City for about 8 weeks now. He's not yet delivered on any of his rather lofty campaign promises. Instead, New Yorkers have gotten out of his tenure so far a lot of garbage in the streets. We got that from you, thank you, Mandani. We got no snow cleared, thank you. The cryptocurrency outfit, Polymarket, even beat the boy mayor to the punch in one of his campaign promises, opening up what is billed as New York's first free grocery store. The store was privately funded, not city-run, only operated for 5 days, but that was plenty of time to demonstrate yet again that socialism, just like Mandani itself, does not exactly deliver on its promises. It only leaves people angry and disappointed. People were so excited about this idea. Everybody going crazy. Fox News reporting Thursday, in a busy stretch of restaurants and boutiques in the West Village, hundreds of New Yorkers queued up outside a pop-up shop offering these free groceries. The people in the long queue, however, for the most part, went away disappointed. New York's first free grocery store hit the wall of reality very early in the day. One woman recounted, I literally got here at 9, and basically what they said is they ran out of tickets. The tickets apparently necessary to get entry to go into the store. Just as grocery shelves were so often empty in the old Soviet Union, New York's first free grocery store ran out of tickets. Sorry, 9 a.m., we're done. One man said, they told us they ran out of tickets and I couldn't get any more food. I couldn't get access to the store. Security guard, clearly weary with the charade only an hour after it started, after 9 a.m. said, let's go, people, let's go home. Do not linger, do not look, do not watch, please go home. Once New York becomes a fully socialist society, those little yellow tickets, oh, they're going to fetch a very good price on the black market. Guarantee. Otherwise, going to be handed out to the powerful and the privileged, and nobody else would be able to get them. After all, everyone's equal. It's just some people are maybe more equal than others. If Mandani holds true to his promise and opens his own low-cost grocery stores, we are just going to see this all over again, guaranteed. Greater intensity, hotter tempers. People are not going to put up with it. It's what you voted for. And so, guess what? It's what you're going to get good and hard. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. The Air Force's newest pilot takes orders, for now, but it isn't human. This might be a little bit of a scary story, folks. You see that plane right there? Guess what? An Air Force F-22 Raptor pilot had an in-flight talk with his drone wingman during a just revealed test mission at Edwards Air Force Base. Brought us another step closer to our fighter pilots flying into action with a cohort of AI-powered jets. In this case, and to stick a pin in that thought because I'll get back to it in a minute, the drone was a General Atomics MQ-20 Avenger, known formerly as the Predator C. Pedigree of the stealthy drone actually goes back to about 2009, since canceled Air Force program to replace the famous, or infamous for those on the receiving end, of the MQ-9 Reaper. Now, since the Avenger found a new life as a test bed for new technology, including serving as a kind of smart, loyal wingman for manned flights, Collaborative Combat Aircraft, CCA, the Air Force now insists that's what we call them. You know, now we have to call UFOs UAPs, so now we're going to call these Collaborative Combat Aircraft, CCAs. You know, bureaucrats just love taking the romance out of everything, don't they? The Avenger, able to perform its mission commands autonomously, and this demonstration featured the integration of mission elements and the ability of autonomy to utilize onboard sensors to make independent decisions and execute commands from the F-22. There was nobody in the plane. I don't know how I feel about that. Something seems a bit off, indeed. Oh, Manischewitz. All right, I think we're done. D. Taylor S.Y., appreciate your clear communication style. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your being here. Thanks for that. Be sure and follow the show. It's a little green oval button down there, says follow on it. We are live on Rumble right now. We also put up the video of our show on our X account and on our YouTube channel, The Jay Sheldon Show. You can look out for us there and subscribe. Otherwise, we have the video on demand here on Rumble. It's always there after we're live. And, of course, our podcast on Spotify, Apple iTunes, all the podcast platforms. We hope you'll join us there. Hey, don't forget, please, to check out our sponsors, Patriot Mobile, Blackout Coffee. We live on this stuff. Oh, man. All right, Blackout Coffee, NordVPN, all the great folks down there, Brickhouse Nutrition in our show notes. Check them out. Get some great deals over there. And I will see you again. Oh, let's make it, how about tomorrow, for the Wednesday edition of the Jay Sheldon Show. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks, and enjoy the State of the Union address tonight.